What is going on, y'all beautiful people, man? Hope you guys are having an amazing day. In this video, what we're going to talk about is state control for somebody that wants to be, you can be an athlete, you could be somebody that wants to be a public speaker, you could be somebody that just wants to live better every single day. And being able to get into a state control, which basically, this is basically saying being able to control the state of your internal being, like being able to know that you can control almost your mood and being able to get it into the place that you need to. This is a concept that I've heard from different people all over. And even Jordan Belfort talked about how there's times where he had to go speak and he was like absolutely tired, jet lagged. He had all these things going on, but he still had to go speak. So he had to be able to master his state control and get it to that place where he can bring himself into this state whenever he needs to, as much as he can. Now, this is something I've also heard from Owen Cook. He talks about state control as a speaker and as just somebody on an everyday basis being able to state control. And this has come back up for me, and I think it can help a lot of us realizing that that state control is something that we're trying to get into, not just in state control, but into the presence of God. That is powerful. Realizing that it's getting into the presence of God that you can start to control how you can get into the presence of God and getting into that presence of the joy, the love, and the peace once we start fighting for it. But realizing that's the same thing as controlling your state, because you can get into the root, into the groove and momentum of God and of the peace of God, the more that we are actually trying to get into that momentum. Here's an example here. So Owen Cook talked about how he would a lot of the times go out and he would take his students out. And so he was helping them get into a certain state, which is basically being able to get into the state where you're like having fun, you're just having a good time, all that stuff, realizing it. And you have to be in that active state. It's like the winner effect that you have to have, and not affected by mistakes, not affected by if you go talk to somebody and it doesn't go well, anything like that. So what he had to tell them, here's the big thing here. He had to tell them, okay, after every interaction, I'm going to come up to you and I'm going to tell you how did that interaction go, and you need to tell me it went 1,000 out of 10, which means it went so damn amazing, even if it didn't go good. So what that's basically doing is getting you into that momentum of that state, and more that you say that, the more that you get into that momentum. But he even said, I'm gonna come and tell you that, like I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna try to trick you and like try to make you not say that, but you're going to forget. You have to continue to say that. So he was like, he asked them that after every time they went and talked to somebody, anything like that, and they would say 1,000 out of 10. And then of course, sometime throughout the night, they would slip up and they would say, oh, it went okay, it went all right. But that's what he's training them to get into. He's like, oh, you caught yourself. Keep saying 1,000 out of 10. It's getting you into that momentum, even when you don't feel it. That's the powerful thing. That's so beautiful right there. Even when you don't feel it, even when your thoughts are telling you that went so terrible, you're still saying 1,000 out of 10, and you're training yourself on a higher truth than what your body, your mind, your thoughts, anything like that is telling you. Now, this is beautiful because a lot of the times we know the truth of God, but our body and our mind and our feelings and our emotions and our thoughts sometimes are going to tell us something different. We know the truth of God, but just because our thoughts or our mind or our emotions tell us something different doesn't mean that you don't believe in it, doesn't mean that you aren't close to God. It's just like we're actively fighting against that. This is a beautiful thing he talked about in the book called Inner Excellence. He said that our mind is so trained to be self-centered, negative, egotistical, pride, have all that stuff that it's just like kind of wired and wanting to go to every single day. That you have to wake up actively in the morning and at night and actively go against that. And he has like a 5-step night routine that I made a video about, and that's like a way of us actually getting out of that. But also too, with this stuff in your life, how can we take God's word and get into a momentum with God? What I've realized here, and this is powerful for every single one of us, man. If you want to have a good time in your life, you want to be happy, joyous, living in that joy of the Lord, what we have to try to do is get into that rhythm even when you're not feeling it. Now this for me, it was like sometimes I felt like I was kind of like, am I deluding myself? Like I felt like I was getting into the love of the Lord, and I would continue to say stuff about God and knowing, and I have these things that I'm remembering about God. But then it's like, you're still making mistakes. You still sin, or you do something that's not perfect, or you're falling off on your Bible study a little bit or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying here? And then all of a sudden you're still trying to tell yourself about God and knowing that. And sometimes you can feel like, oh, am I deluding myself? Because like, why am I not actively being perfect? Sometimes we say that. But what it is that you're still continuing to know that you're not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be the most perfect person. But for His grace is sufficient for us, for His power is made perfect in weakness. That is powerful. And what that basically means is being able to say, we can continue to say and proclaim the glories of God and the grace of God, even when we are not perfect, even when we aren't feeling it, even when our thoughts are telling us differently, anything like that. But continuing to say that over and over, day by day, and being connected to God is a beautiful thing, because it's basically telling ourselves, even when I fall, even when I'm not perfect, even when I fall into temptation, even when I'm doing things that aren't perfect, even when I'm not actively going to my Bible as much as I wish I would, I know that I'm on the path that God has put for me, and I will continue to rejoice in that. And I know that that's going to be the thing that actually helps me the most. We serve ourselves no good by continuing to beat ourselves up, by continuing to be upset about stuff, by continuing to just be like, oh, I should have done this. We get guilty, we feel bad. But the best way to actually get deeper into God's presence and get actually more and more into our Bible study, whatever you want to do, is to be of a good cheer. For in this world you'll have trial and tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. That is what we're trying to do every single day. And now I've realized the more that I'm proclaiming God, even in the midst of this stuff, the more I'm proclaiming God, even when I don't feel it, when I'm feeling stressed or anxious or anything like that, the more I'm just starting to get into the place of kind of like the 1,000 out of 10, where all of a sudden it's starting to become your default state. It's like, man, I'm feeling good. Like, just saying it, I'm feeling good. Like, even when you're not feeling good, and all of a sudden you start to feel like it's almost like you're getting yourself into feeling good by saying that. And it's something that's beautiful of, you know, I hear people say, you can be in a bad mood for no reason, so why can't you be in a good mood for no reason? So that's what you're saying, man. And it's beautiful because it's just like, you're not letting your mind tell you that you're upset, that you're mad, that you're anxious, that you're stressed, that you're feeling bad, that you should be sad, that you're this or that. But you're continuing to say, God, I know you're good. God, I know you're here. God, I know you're continuing to be with me. And it's beautiful because all of a sudden you start to get into that state over and over on your day-to-day basis. Just like Owen Cook talked about, getting into controlling your state is about being able to, for one, get into that rhythm, have things that create a rhythm in your life. And it's almost like getting into flow state in your life with God's presence. That rhythm in your life is something that's slowly just going to start to work and churn and get you into what he's saying is the flow, or not, the flow state, yeah, but also the state of, you know, the state control, to get you into the place where you're just like on point, you're having fun, having a good time when you're speaking and when you're doing anything. But also for us, it's getting into that joy of the Lord, the love of the Lord, the peace of the Lord, because that's going to be the best place that we can do anything from. If you're a communicator, if you're an athlete, if you are just somebody that wants to enjoy your every single day, that's the best place we can get to. So just getting ourselves into... What the hell is that? I don't know what the hell that is. But just getting ourselves... There's somebody like... There's like a speakerphone going off. It kind of sounds like a... what is it called? The Purge. But yeah, we're okay. Getting ourselves into that state of God is beautiful. It's beautiful because it's going to continue to help us just laugh, have a good time, be joyous, and that's going to transfer into anything we do. It's going to overflow into anything we do. So can we do that today, man? I hope you guys are having an amazing one. Talk to you on the next video. Peace.